Hello, and thanks for clicking on this next Algebra 1 production. Today, we're going to talk about how to factor trinomials when a is not 1 using the slide and divide method. This is the third way that I've showed you how to factor trinomials when a is not 1. Okay? They all literally do the same thing. The question is, which are you more comfortable with or most comfortable with, and do you know how to do it? All right, you need to know how to use that method properly. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at factoring trinomials using the slide and divide method. So some of the things that show up again and again and again. The first thing you need to do is check for a GCF other than 1. Okay. If there is one, it has to be factored out. All right. Remember, you cannot lead with a negative. That's really important on slide and divide. Your first term cannot be a negative because if it is and you try to use slide and divide, it will not work properly and you'll get the wrong answer. So super important that you factor out the negatives when you have them. Okay. Next, if you have no GCF, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply the A and the C terms together. So it starts off like AC. Okay, multiply those two terms together. And then you're going to find two numbers that multiply to be A times C and add up to B. Again, similar to 1AM, also starts the same way as AC starts. Okay? You're going to go ahead and factor, but rather than do the split like you do for AC, what you're going to do here is you're going to factor it as if it were a 1AM problem. And then you have to go back and divide by the A term because A is not 1. All right. If A goes in evenly to that factor that you divided it by, we'll divide it and see what you get. If it does not go in evenly to that factor, move that A term in front of the X in that factor. So that last step's a little weird. We're going to talk about it. It's not complicated, I promise you. It takes a little getting used to, but it's not too bad. All right, so let's give this a shot here. Let's see what we can do. So I want you to factor 4x squared minus 15x minus 25. Okay. Again, A is not 1. I can't use 1AM on it. 4, 15, and 25. 1 is the GCF. 2 powers of x, 1 power of x, no powers of x. No GCF there either. The only GCF is 1. Okay, no GCF then. All right, I am going to try to do this by slide and divide. All right. So slide and divide means I'm going to take the A and the C and I'm going to multiply them together. Here we go. 4 times negative 25 is negative 100, right? So that's 4 times negative 25. Okay, so now I need two numbers that multiply to be negative 100 and add to negative 15. So again, you're back similar to 1AM. You're looking for the numbers. It's got to accomplish both tasks. Okay, in this case, those numbers would be negative 20 and 5. Right? Those are my two numbers, negative 20 and 5. All right, now we're going to factor this by slide and divide. Here's how it works. Okay, so we're actually going to, when we make our two factors, we're actually going to pretend that it's really a 1AM problem for now. We're just going to put the x and x there to start. We're going to bring this 4 back in just a minute. We're going to put the numbers in here, negative 20, positive 5, okay? But now, you can see that if you tried to multiply this out, you would not get back to where you started again. I mean, literally, x times x is x squared, not 4x squared. You haven't done anything with the 4, okay? Now, what you're going to do from here is you're going to divide both factors by A, which is 4. That's the number in front. So we're going to divide both of these by 4. Here we go. So now we have x. Negative 20 over 4 is negative 5. And then we have x plus 5 over 4. But 4 doesn't go into 5 even. So what we do is we take this 4 that doesn't divide evenly into the 5 and we move it in front of the x. And this is the correct answer. Okay? You can see it is. If you multiply it out, if you were to check it, x times 4x would be a 4x squared. X times 5 is 5x. 5 times 4x is negative 20x. Negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. Combine the like terms. You have 4x squared minus 15x minus 25. So this must be the answer. Okay? That's how this works. So it's very similar to 1am. All right? It works pretty good. The biggest thing that folks forget is this last step here. You have to divide the factors by whatever a is. If you don't do that, your answer is totally wrong. You're not even in the game. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Try a few. Negative 4x squared plus 19x plus 5. All right, so let's take a look. I'm looking for a GCF other than 1. 4, 19, and 5. Now, 1's the GCF, but this first term's a negative. So I have to take out the negative 1. I have no choice. Cannot lead with a negative, especially in this method. If you do, your answer is going to actually come out to be wrong. Okay? X squared, x, number by itself. No powers of x. So I'm going to have to divide all these by negative 1. So we're going to have 4x squared. 19 over negative 1 is negative 19x. And then 5 over negative 1 is negative 5. All right, now I look inside here. 4x squared minus 19x minus 5. Well, that's a trinomial that's set up with an x squared, an x, and a number by itself. I might be able to factor it, so I have to try. I'm going to try to use slide and divide to do it. So I'm going to multiply the a and the c together. So that's 4 times negative 5. That's negative 20. So the numbers I find would have to multiply to be negative 20. They're going to have to add to negative 19. We can do that pretty easy. Negative 20 and 1, right? I think that'll do it. Yeah, I think that'll do it. So now this negative 1 just gets brought down to the next line. Here we go. We're going to try to factor this. Remember, we're going to factor it like it's 1am to start, and then we'll bring the 4 back. So a is 4. We have to divide by 4. Let's do it. We have negative 1, x. Negative 20 over 4 is negative 5. And then 1 over 4. Now, 4 doesn't go into 1 even, so this 4 slides in front of the x. And we get 4x plus 1. This is the correct answer. Okay, it's done. It's all factored. All right. This is definitely probably for most of you, it may be the fastest way to do it. But this is the thing that trips everybody up over and over and over again. You have to remember to divide by the a term. If you don't, and you write x minus 20 times x minus x plus 1, it's not right. You're not even close. You're not even getting 4x squared when you do x times x. Okay? All right. Let's try. We'll try one more here. We got 24a squared plus 30a plus 9. So let's take a look. 24, 30, and 9 looking like there's a GCF there. 3 looks like it's in common in all of them. So we take out the 3. We'd be left with 8a squared minus 10a plus 3, right? Divide them all by 3. 3. There we go. A squared, a, number by itself. Can't take out an a. So sorry about that. Skip that step. This is what we get. So now we look inside. There's an a squared, an a, and a number by itself. It's got 3 terms. We have to try to factor it. We can't factor it by 1am because there's an 8 in the front. So we're going to try to factor the trinomial using slide and divide. So we're going to multiply this, the 8 and the 3. The a times the c is 8 times 3. That's 24. So the two numbers I find have to multiply to be 24, and then they have to add to be negative 10. So those two numbers are negative 6 and negative 4, right? Both of them are negative. Yep, negative 6 times negative 4 is 24. Negative 6 plus negative 4 is negative 10. All right, so now we're going to bring the 3 down. Here we go. Make our 2 sets of parentheses. We're going to factor this as if it didn't work. We're doing 1am, a and a. Fill the numbers in, minus 6 minus 4. And then we're going to divide each one of these by a. Divide by a equals 8. And now we're going to try to clean it up. If you can reduce, you need to reduce. So we have 3a minus 6 over 8 in lowest terms is 3 over 4, right? And then here, 4 over 8 is 1 over 2. Now we need to slide it over. So this 4, after we reduce, slides over there. The 2 slides in front of there. So we get 3 times 4a minus 3 times 2a minus 1. This is the correct answer. And it's all done. Okay? And that's how you factor by slide and divide. And as always, thanks for clicking.